Every time you open social media these days, especially Instagram and TikTok, it seems there's always this new 16, 17-year old hitting a new bench PR that's like a few times more than your lifetime deadlift PR, let's say dream PR. But the effect it has on your mind is something that is rarely spoken about, if at all. Let's say for someone who is just starting out, who has a lot of drive, but has goals that are a lot more conservative, it can be quite harmful to one's self esteem, especially to young kids who aren't that mature and kind of rely on very archetypical, um, very typical sort of masculine fire of wanting to prove to everyone else that they are something, which is something which is fine, by the way, uh, especially if you're young. But to me, I noticed that uh, a bit more mature, well rounded approach works way better. It seems that these days it's becoming more and more important for even younger kids to develop this pragmatism and sort of this grounded approach a little bit early on, so as not to fall into the snares of steroid use, drug use, um, and things of that nature that kind of ultimately becomes counterproductive and unhealthy in the long run. Now, we all know that there's this culture of using our own dark thoughts as a motivator to become a better person, using that as a fuel, um, to complete workouts, to push ourselves at the gym. Now, hating the version of an older version of yourself is one thing, but it is completely different when you realize that the ultimate version of you that you are aiming towards becoming still won't be enough in comparison to all these images and all these goals that you see online. The point I'm trying to make is that we must develop this um, inner circuit of competing with only ourselves and try to escape this trap of comparison that permeates everything. Now, comparison and competition is a good thing, generally speaking, but this is not always the case. You see, the faster you go, the faster you burn out as well. And so, this lesson of pragmatism, sort of balancing the yin and yang that exists within each of us, is a lesson that transcends the boundaries of just fitness, gym, and is applicable to our entire life as a whole. We must be detached from the outcome to the best of our ability. If you are a young kid who's watching this video, you should at least try to understand what I'm trying to say, where I'm coming from, even though um, you might say that I'm slightly older. I'm in my late 20s, so I've gone through the process of going really hard and heavy in my early stages. I've experienced injuries. Of course, I haven't really gone the dark path, but I mean, you can easily argue that just because I've I've had my own share of, um, just because I've gone through the process already myself, it's very easy to convince. So, one trick that I've found out that might help you kind of ground yourself, and not obsess about your goals. Of course, assuming this is something that you agree upon. So, one of the key tricks that I've realized is to trivialize this ultimate image of yourself. Let's say you paint a picture in your mind of you, let's say, deadlifting 800 pounds, and then sort of trivialize the image. How this version is still not enough despite having an elite lift. This person can experience all sorts of issues in other aspects of life. In essence, we sort of we put that person down from this pedestal, and you will notice that suddenly, upon trivializing that ideal, we are a little less driven. We aren't chasing an illusion. It's almost like our motivation has dwindled a little bit. We end up trying a lot less. And so you might agree, how is that a good thing? Isn't the whole, um, isn't the traditional strategy to try and push ourselves as hard as we can? You see, like everything else, there's a sweet spot, a happy medium between two extremes. And there are different paths we take in life to reach that happy medium. For some of us, we start on easy mode and then we push ourselves. For others, we find ourselves on the extreme end and then settle in the happy medium zone. But you'll notice that if you are able to sustain this motivation, if we are coming from a place of positivity, sustainability, we are taking a much more mature approach in working out, it eventually compounds into something that far exceeds, let's say, these little flash in the pan in one's journey. Now, sure, having this enormous drive, um, being this typical driven, um, go hard or go home mentality, bringing this go hard or go home mentality to your workouts, it sounds um, way more dramatic. You see, it's all about the area that adds up under the curve. Let's say upon adopting this ideal, your entire drive gets ruined, then it's a great opportunity to face our own shadow in some sense and reconstruct our motivators into something a little bit more reliable, a little bit less dark, something a little bit less superficial. I know if you're one of um, the younger audience with lots of fire in your blood, it's a lot easier said than done. Just shutting down social media is not that easy. But if you want to really compete, my suggestion is to compete with your immediate peers, people who are just slightly above you, goals that you can easily attain, or at least in the, I would say, shorter term, but not like um, people whose lifts or whose physiques are something you might end up achieving years down the line. I find the culture of hating oneself to win things in life quite toxic in the long run, because if we accidentally end up loving ourselves, it's like we end up suffering from imposter syndrome. The momentum stops. It's like we find a way to hate ourselves again, and then we are constantly in this loop forever. Now, sure, it might sound better than being lazy, but this is a kind of a psychological hack young people use to escape this arduous process of self-acceptance, of really um, taking into consideration the nuances of how we operate. It's a quick fix that works short time, this hating ourselves. But if you use it forever, you will inevitably run into some sort of a brick wall that I've personally experienced in my life, where there's constantly going to be this self-fulfilling prophecy where we end up jeopardizing things, anchoring our identity into aspects that are outside of ourselves is not healthy in the long run. It's like, imagine using coffee as a replacement for a good night's sleep, day in and day out. You know that after a while the coffee is not going to work and you'll have to take a deep long rest. Now if you think that so if you like this video, and this is something that I made this video to discuss a very important psychological aspect of training that is rarely spoken about. Of course, I'm debating for the opposite extreme, I suppose, but I just think that there are countless young people, there are rare instances of people who might end up burning out and giving up just because they aren't able to manage their expectations, especially when these expectations are being crafted by carefully recommended posts in social media. If you like this video, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to connect with me for any reason, whether it's coaching or just sharing your thoughts, my email will be down there in the description box, or you might find the details in the channel's description. So see you again. Take care.